Well, we had snow, about 6 inches, I'm guessing, and a hell of a wind, so I'm going to have to be plowing. And it's going to be cold. We've had a hell of a winter this year. You know, last year I plowed for like a half a day all winter. Now, I'm going to be busy. It's been a busy year, but it's just been a tough winter. I'm going to load up some wood now, but because I got to have some right close to the house for the next couple of days, you know, while I'm plowing. So I don't have to fight with that. But I've been kind of watching this Ukraine stuff. Some of it I can't bear to watch. When you get some of the people that are talking, some like the White House spokesman and that Blinken and all them, it's just very hard to watch because if you know what's really going on, you can't tolerate that much lying and deception. You know, they're really only telling half of the story all the time. I don't know why they can't be honest with people, but they can't. You know, like now they're going on about, oh, you know, you have Kiev. Everybody wants to get in Kiev. You betcha they're going to just invade Kiev. They got no interest in Kiev at all. Why would the Russians want Kiev? That'd be nothing but trouble. It'd be like A.O.C. and her constant yammering that everybody's trying to get in their pants. It's way more trouble than it's worth. You know, he has an obligation to the Russian people that are living in Ukraine over on the east side. But he has no interest in Kiev. But yet, oh, we got to move the embassy. Oh, we got to clear people out. Oh, this is dangerous. No, there ain't going to be any problem in Kiev. Unless they, if there is, it's something that we're bringing on, because I have never seen us work so hard to promote a war that nobody wanted except us. You know, it's a funny situation to be in. But anyway, he was gonna, you know, Putin was gonna move them peacekeepers in to those renegade provinces, which, you know, it's funny because then right away, both from the UN and from NATO, I heard, oh, that's in violation of those Minsk agreements. Well, good God, they haven't, you know, they've been pushing, trying to get them. The Russians have been pushing all this time, trying to get them to abide by those agreements, and they refuse to do it. 7 years this has gone on. Like 12,000 people have been killed in them provinces in that time. And now all of a sudden they're, oh yeah, the Minsk agreements, which they wouldn't even talk about before, you know, but now, oh, he's violated them. Well, I don't think there's nothing there to worry about. It just got to the point, you know, where they, you know, like when they're talking, oh, diplomacy, this diplomacy. If you're not going to listen to what the other guy's saying, if you just actually completely closed-minded on this, there is no point even talking anymore. And that's what Putin finally decided. There's nothing to be gained here. Just wasting our time. Just go ahead and do what you got to do. You know, it's just silly, especially when they started ratcheting up all the missiles and crap going in there. You know, and we're pouring more money in and more money. And, you know, if you listen to what Putin was saying, which you should, because don't go by what you hear from our side on anything like this, because it's all bullshit. But he finally got to the point where that's all they could do. You know, there was no point in playing around with this anymore. This has been going on for way too long. Nothing is going to get accomplished. You know, they're always threatening, oh, sanctions, sanctions. Well, Russia has been spending a lot of time making themselves rather sanction-proof. So, when we're talking, oh, sanctions are going to hurt them, it's going to hurt us, and it's going to hurt Europe a hell of a lot more than it's going to hurt Russia. They're prepared for this. But if you want to start sanctioning, like immediately they're saying, oh, that gas, well, Europe counts on that gas. And, of course, right now that one pipeline is running through Ukraine. And Ukraine, oh, they love, they get millions of dollars, billions of dollars in transit fees. So, you can't use that Nord Stream 2. Well, Germany is saying, oh, damn, because Germany really needs that gas. So they're going to end up paying twice as much for heating. Now, you don't think people are going to rise up? If your citizens are suddenly going to have to pay twice as much for heating, they're going to have riots. Just nonsense. But Russia can get by. Russia can get by without having to deal with us. Like, oh, we're going to take them off the SWIFT payment method. Well, they've been expecting this for a long time. They've been working out ways around this. All those BRICS nations have been developing a system that's without us. Well, if they do that, it's going to hurt us. Because right now we count on that. We're the currency, the U.S. currency is king. Everything is priced in that. If they stop doing that, it's going to hurt us. And as we aren't hurting now, we're barely hanging in there through smoke and mirrors. But it's funny, all these sanctions they're talking, they're all going to backfire. I don't know why they can't just leave things, get along with people and start trying to stir this stuff up. It's funny. But I really hope that people have got the sense to when you hear these people, our people, or the UN people, talking, you can be sure there's another side to this story that they're not telling you. And I hope you take the time to look into that. But this whole thing about, oh, they're going to take over the whole country, they don't want that whole country. Why in the world would you want to deal with that mess? But they do have an obligation to the ethnic Russians that are living on the eastern side. So, you had every reason to be in there. And if we weren't willing to live up to the other agreements, they don't trust us. The good thing is, in this, it's funny because I heard that red-headed thing talking today, and she was saying, oh, we're really uniting NATO, really strengthening NATO, and I tell you, that ain't it. This is killing NATO. You bit off way more than you could chew here. Which is probably a good thing. I mean, NATO has outlived its purpose. Because it's just it's a way of us doing things and claiming everybody was in on it when all these people really aren't in on this. So, but we'll see. But like I said, they're not going to go and take all of Ukraine. There would be no point in that. Way more than you can handle. I mean, there'd be a whole lot of people killed for nothing. You couldn't really hold it. I mean, it wouldn't be worth the trouble. Like getting in A.O.C.'s pants. Well, I better cut my wood. But I'm glad to see that, this whole thing was diplomacy, that's coming to an end. Because there's no point, Lavrov is a statesman. He understands it, and he just had to give up because you cannot talk to these idiots. There's no sense can be made. You're just wasting your time. So I'm glad to see that they finally just said, hell with this, we'll do it. And we aren't going to do a damn thing about it. We're going to put on sanctions, which, like I say, is going to hurt us more than it's going to hurt them. So go at her. But I really hope that people don't buy into this bullshit. And I do read in comments on other videos and stuff, you know, about this. And there are some people think this is, oh boy, you know, we're really the dragon slayers here. We're going to rescue them fair maidens in Ukraine. I think they're pretty secure as it sits. But really, you got to watch where you're getting your information from. That's all. You really got to look. And the funny part is, a lot of these people who are yapping about this, like, they really couldn't even find Ukraine on a map. They have no idea what's going on there or why it's going on or the whole history of the place. But yet they have this opinion. You know, gung-ho for America. We're going to, you know. Well, the UK is bad, if not worse. You know, I think Canada's got enough problems out there. I think they got involved with this for a while. They were sending weapons and stuff. But right now, they're lucky if they can hang themselves together. They really went to hell. But there's so much of that going on. You know, it's really astounding how bad things can go in such a short period of time. But the only real leader that shows any signs of actually leading here is Putin. I'll have to give him credit. I mean, the man, he does what he says he's going to do. He tried his damnedest, the diplomatic route, but dealing with us is a hopeless case. So he's doing what he has to do. And when he got on and he was talking for like an hour and a half, and he could do that without reading. Biden gets on and just reads this bullshit other people wrote for him, and it's all threats and, you know, and just nonsense. When Biden was talking, he was saying to the people in Ukraine, or not in Ukraine, but in Russia, that this is something they really didn't want to do, but something that they have to do, and there will be suffering from this. Russian people are used to suffering. The West is not. Russia can weather this a lot better than the West can. But he's being honest with his people. Our politicians are not being honest with us at all. Like I say, it's aggravating to listen to them because they lie. It's just nature to them. Talk tough. And got nothing to back it up. Well, get that wood done. Because I don't think I'll be doing a video for a couple of days. I think this is, you know, in winter, when it's like this, it's just, you do what you have to do. You know, and there isn't a lot of extra time. You know, but I got a tree right here, and the saw is right here, and the sled is right here, so I'm going to cut up it's an old dead elm. One of them that's right to the point, you know, standing dead elm, where the bark falls off. Ooh, that's great. It's good firewood. It doesn't burn for a long time, but it's good firewood for getting oak started. You know, oak by itself is very hard to start, but that it burns about like popple, really. You know, it'll fire up real easy, and you get a quick heat out of it. You know, so it's nice in the morning. You throw a few of them on, and boom, you get it going again. Then put in coal or oak to build up the coals to hold. But I'm going to have to look around. There's a few more dead elms. But this one happened to be close to the yard here, so it's easy to get at. Because I've got oak I can get at. yet, but we got a couple feet of snow, and that first stuff turned hard. It's one of them where you drive on it and you actually drive over it, and then you can break through. Then you fight. I was shoveling, hit this thing yesterday. I don't have the chains on. I should have put the chains on, but that's something I'll probably regret in the morning. Though this new snow, I've got a pretty good trail in and out, and the new snow is really fairly soft. So if I don't drive off the road, off my trail, I'll be okay. If I drive off the trail, it could get a little chancy. But I think it's going to be 17 below in the morning, so we'll see. It's going to be another fight again with this. Winters really is. I mean, you just buckle down and bear with it. And I think in about a week we're going to get some weather up, in the 20s and 30s again. And that'll be a great relief. The good thing is these cold spells only last for a short period of time. So you just brace up and get through them. But it would be nice if I didn't have to go and plow snow, but I know I got roads that are going to be plugged, so if I don't do it, it ain't going to get done. I'm going to have to go and do it. But, it ain't bad if you got like above zero and you're plowing, but when you get 20 below zero or trying to plow, that's tough on the machine. Hydraulics work very slowly. On any machine it works that way. You're more likely to break something in that extreme cold. And that's always fun, trying to fix something when it's that cold. But enough. We'll see what happens in Ukraine, but I'm not, I'm not too worried. I think Russia's going to go in and keep the peace, probably with a pretty heavy hand, but that's what it's going to take in those breakaway provinces. If there's a lot of pushback on this, there might be a little bit more taken, because the one thing they would like to have from those provinces down to, there's a small area of land that goes into Crimea. Crimea is damn near an island. But there is a small area where they can actually have a road going into Crimea, an overland road. And they would like to get that established. So it could be that something's going to happen there too. Right on that southern curve of that thing. Because they could use that, because right now, Crimea depends on that bridge. And like I say, them damn Ukrainians have been just itching to get at that bridge. So an overland road would be a great help. Plus, that's where their water came in for Ukraine. And of course, the first thing when Ukraine broke away from, when Crimea broke away from Ukraine, they dammed up the water. Gonna thirst them out, evidently. So the Russians had to work a way around that to get enough water to keep them going. But, so they might take the dam over, and they might make a road. So that could happen. But for the moment, I think they're just trying to keep those people in them provinces alive. Because that's went on and on and on. It's just ridiculous. And how Ukraine can say, oh, it wasn't us, obviously it was, but oh no, we aren't hurting them people. It's so funny. I think about it when, like in Ukraine, you're not supposed to speak Russian. You can't speak Russian in schools or anything like that. That's verboten completely. Even like that, they like to give their speeches in Ukrainian, because then somebody has to interpret them into English, but they don't want to give them in Russian. Nothing can be done in Russian, because that's, And what I thought was funny, like all our government forums that come, or if you should call any government agency right away, that damn, you know, it's always Spanish. I mean, they have English, they have Spanish, always the two languages. Well, the people in Ukraine, I mean, they spoke Russian and they spoke Ukrainian. More, you know, on the east side, they all speak Russian. They don't even speak Ukrainian. But they're trying to force them into speaking Ukrainian. That's the big divider there, is the language thing, you know. I don't know why they couldn't have things in two languages like we have to. You know, I can't think of anything I have had that hasn't had, you know, any contact with any government agency or even the phone company. You know, it's always, you have that Spanish option. I don't know why they can't have a Russian option in there. I mean, there's a lot of older people that I'm sure have never spoken Ukrainian. But to them, that's forbidden. You cannot speak Russian. Then you're a hell of a traitor. It's a funny thing. They're very nationalistic over there. I mean, to the point of being scary. So I better get working, or my hand's going to get cold.